vertebral column encloses and protects the spinal cord. There are tough meninges that cover and enclose the brain and the spinal cord. The inner layer is called the pia mater, the middle layer is called the arachnoid, and the outermost layer is the dura mater. In this diagram you can see this is the skull, this is the brain, and here we can see towards the brain there is pia mater, the middle layer is arachnoid, and the outermost layer near the skull is the dura mater. The cerebral spinal fluid is produced in the brain and surrounds and cushions both the brain and the spinal cord. Here you can see the blue portion is the cerebrospinal fluid and it protects the spinal cord and the brain as well. The ventricular system is a set of structures containing the cerebrospinal fluid inside the brain. It is continuous with the central canal of the spinal cord. Here you can see there are 4 ventricles in the ventricular system, the right and the left lateral ventricles, third ventricle and the fourth ventricle. The spinal cord is a downward continuation of the brain. It connects to the brain of the foramen magnum bone of the skull. The spinal cord is encircled and protected by the bones of the vertebral column. The spinal cord contains about 100 million neurons, and 31 pairs of the spinal nerves emerge from the spinal cord and serve as a specific region on the right or the left side of the body. Now, what makes up the brain, the spinal cord, or your peripheral nerves? The functional and structural unit of the nervous system is a neuron, specialized to conduct information from one part of the body to another. This is a typical diagram of a neuron. The neuron contains cell body, one or more specialized slender processes, axons, dendrites, an input region, the dendrite soma, a conducting component, the axon, and a secretory output region, the axon terminal. The perikaryon or soma is the cell body of the neuron. Its size varies from 5 to 140 micrometer and it contains nucleus, organelles and clusters of endoplasmic reticulum and free ribosomes. Here you can see a photograph of the cell body. This is the cell body or the soma. The dendrites, here you can see the dendrites or extensions coming out from the cell body. They are extensive branching from the cell body and these transmit the electrical signals or are receptors for the signals. Their function is of reception. They act just like antennas. Axons or nerve fibers have only one branch in usually all the neurons, but in specialized cases there may be more. The axons divides into terminal branches, each ending into synaptic knobs. These synaptic knobs are important for nerve to nerve signaling. The axons may be thick, which may be myelinated, and the axons which are thin are unmyelinated. The myelinated axons, the conduction velocity of the nerve is more, whereas in thin axons it is slow. The myelin, what is myelin sheath? The myelin sheath is the covering that the axons have. Myelin is manufactured by Schwann cells. Schwann cells are neuroglia cells. It forms when a Schwann cell wraps its membrane around an axon up to 100 times. The myelin sheath envelops the axon except at its end with the node of Ranvier. The neuroglia, in addition to neurons, the nervous system contains glial cells or the supporting cells. They are 10 to 15 times as many glial cells and neurons, and their function is very important for the normal functioning of the nervous system. The type of glial cells are Schwann cells, oligodendrites, astrocytes, ependymal cells and microglia. The Schwann cells, as I have already told, they have an important role in formation of the myelin sheath. The oligodendrites, they also myelinate the axons, the astrocytes. Now astrocytes have very important function. They are two types, the fibrous astrocytes and the protoplasmic astrocytes. What astrocytes do is they form a barrier between the blood and the brain. So what they do is they send processes to blood vessels where they induce capillaries to form a tight junction. So here you can see this is the capillary, this is the astrocyte, and here they form a tight junction and form the blood brain barrier. The ependymal cells, here you can see these are the ependymal cells, and this is the cilia. The important function is they secrete the cerebrospinal fluid into the central canal and into the ventricles of the brain. The microglia cells, their function is the defense of the nervous system, and they are derived from blood cells called the monocytes, and they protect the nervous system from infection. Now the physiological properties of the nerve. The two main properties is excitability and conductivity. The integration and transmission of nerve impulse is a specialized function of the neuron. Therefore, it is of interest how impulses are generated and conducted in the neurons. So for this we have to first learn what is membrane potential. Even in the resting stage, nerve cells are generating an electric charge. Every cell has a separation of charge, that is different ion and ion concentration between the inside and outside of the cell. The resting membrane potential, what happens, the ion gradient across the cell membrane establishes the charge difference. The interstitial fluid around the cell has higher concentration of sodium and chloride ions but low concentration of potassium ions. Inside the cell, the concentration of potassium is more than that of sodium and chlorine. In a neuron at rest, ion concentration is less in the inside of the cell than outside, and the membrane potential is about minus 70 millivolt. At rest, the ion concentration the ion conductance channels or gates are closed and the resting membrane is in the state of equilibrium. Here we can see the outside charge is positive, the inside charge is negative, and the resting membrane is minus 70 millivolt. What happens? If the axon is stimulated and a conducted impulse occurs, a characteristic series of potential changes are known as the action potential. What happens during action potential? First, there is generation at the initial segment of the axon. Then this impulse is conducted along the axon. When the axon ends, there is release of the neurotransmitters as axon terminals, and the neurotransmitter excite or inhibit neurons. The neurons receive and send signals. So to start with, the membrane is at resting potential. When an appropriate stimulus interacts with the membrane, the resting membrane potential is disturbed. The sodium gates open to permit sodium ions. Here we can see the sodium ions are coming inside, and when the sodium ion comes inside, there is more positive charge in the inside of the cell. This causes depolarization. Here you can see that the sodium ion is coming inside. This rapid increase of sodium movement causes rapid depolarization to 0 millivolts and then overshoots that, so that the polarity of the membrane is reversed. That is, it becomes positive and becomes plus 40 millivolt. Here sodium ions is coming, and when the axonal membrane becomes depolarized, it depolarizes its neighbors by opening voltage gated sodium channels. The conductance of sodium stops suddenly, and then what happens? The potassium starts coming outside, which results, now here we can see the potassium ions are coming outside. So what will happen, this will again become negative and the impulse is being transmitted from here to here, and when the this cell will become negative, it becomes repolarized. Now conduction in myelinated axons. Here the jumping of the impulse takes place. That means from one node of Ranvier to the another node of Ranvier. This jumping is known as saltatory conduction. Here you can see, here it is activated and then this gets transferred, this becomes excited, the transfer, and this will become excited and then the transferring of impulse. So this is a faster mode of transmission. What is a synapse? Now we know that how the action potential is being generated, and now where nerve impulse is converted